Geeks, it's Minx, and it's time for our Game of Thrones review. It's episode 9, which was this last Sunday, and we're almost done, guys. We're almost through the season already. It feels like it's going by too fast. But as always, spoiler warning if you haven't watched the episode. Um, a lot of people are touting it as probably the best episode of the season, and I'm inclined to agree. But for me, it was the best because we were only focusing on two specific stories, and we were able to actually really delve into them, really get into the nitty gritty, which was really nice. We were focusing on Danny and Marine, and John up north. So that was super excited. Let's start off with Marine. Um, we got to see the dragons in action finally. It was really beautifully done. The CGI was actually really excellent on all three dragons, so that was a huge treat. Um, we get to see Danny being kind of a badass about it, and just pretty much like, no. This is not happening. You're gonna call off your shit. Um, it shows that she actually has control of Drogon now. He's actually willing to play with mommy in a very pleasing puppy kind of way. We get to see Grey Worm do some just crazy, just fucking slash two of the master's throats, and then just kind of give a little tug to his shirt, like, we're done here. So that was actually really badass. The only qualm I have about them burning the ship in Marine, uh, Danny kind of was just very nonchalant about Dracarys. She was kind of like, meh, Dracarys. Like, there was no feeling, there was no intensity behind it. Um, I don't know if that was just how she was directed in that scene, but it was very bland. Um, I would have hoped for something a little more intense, like the previous times when she's called to the dragons to do that. It's been really, it fits the scene. This time it's just like, meh, Dracarys. I guess you guys can, burn this boat. Um, I think that was pretty much the only miscue I saw in there. It was good to see that she didn't roast Tyrion for trying to take care of things while she was gone. It feels like she actually realizes that she kind of left them in a horrible position, and he did the best he could, which is cool. I'm still holding out hope that we will see him on the back of Rhaegal, because I think Viserion is going to totally dig Jon. Um, Plus, we ended up seeing that our Iron Throne peeps have made it, Yara and Theon, and they strike a deal with Daenerys, and there was a little bit of light-hearted sexual tension there, which I think is totally cool. I know in the books both characters are pansexual compared to how they're mostly portrayed in the show. So I just think that was kind of fun and kind of flirty. Can't wait to see if anything becomes of that. Um, and I like how Yara kind of left it open. Just kind of like, hey, I'm down for whatever. So that was cool. Seeing Theon kind of take his roast from Tyrion was nice, and how he just straight up was like, look, I'm unfit to rule. I'm here for my sister, kind of a thing. That was cool. It shows that he's actually fully accepted his position, and that Theon is re-emerging. So that was pretty neat. Uh, and yeah, so that kind of wraps up Marine. Things are going well there. The CGI was perfect. Mwah. The dragons following Drogon's lead was amazing. Hopefully they forgive Mommy for chaining them up. So yeah, so we go north, and the battle is about to happen. We get our first meeting between the two parties, and John kind of points out, oh, so you know, only one of us has to die. So how about we just do some one-on-one, and Ramsay kind of scoffs at that, and he goes, oh, good. Well, I guess your people will know that you will never fight for them. Nice little shot right in there. Um, the entire time, let's point out that Lyanna Mormont is totally giving him the stink eye. Like, I'm on to you, bad guy. And I loved Sansa's parting shot there. It's like, you're going to be dead tomorrow. Sleep well. And just trots on off. So that was pretty cool. Got a little bit of sass going from Sansa, who's growing up. Um, so that was good. And then you got them deciding on what they're going to do, setting up a plan, which of course does not go to plan because during the battle we end up getting Jon pretty much Leroy Jenkins the entire thing. He just kind of screwed the pooch because he fell into Ramsay's trap, and Ramsay's trap involved killing Rickon. Anyone who thought Rickon was going to make it out alive, you're stupid, because with him being a son of Winterfell, pretty much, being a true blood son, there was no way he was going to make it out alive. Poor little bastard. I don't even think running in a zigzag would have helped, because Ramsay is really, really good with a bow. Um, so, yeah. Jon going Leroy Jenkins it was just too much. It was too much for me. Um, and then he looked so surprised. He looked so surprised when his own, like, horses passed him. I'm just like, dude, did you forget you had an army? Like, it's a small army, but did you forget it was there? Because it was just fucking hilariousness. Um, there was a point during the fight that it got a little bit confusing, and like I remember having to explain to my mom, it's like, oh no, he's being trampled. That's what's going on. He's being trampled. That was a huge mass of bodies. I don't know how it kept getting bigger like that. I've never seen a fight like that. It was pretty intense. I am surprised they did not give one anything, any kind of weapon or what you could turn into a giant's weapon, like a freaking huge piece of tree. He could have used as like a giant, just like lance or a bat or a shield, anything. I would have totally armorized 1-1 because he's clearly one of their greatest assets in that fight. Um, when Ramsay turned tail and ran and decided he was going to hide in Winterfell, I'm like, dude, 1-1's his jam is busting down doors. Don't tell me he ain't gonna bust through that one. And he did. And he's like covered in he looked like a goddamn giant porcupine because he had so many things sticking out of him. Um, and then just as Jon's about to reach over to try and comfort him, he gets an arrow in the eye thanks to Ramsay, which some people might think, why didn't he just put an arrow in Jon? Well, yeah, but you kill Jon, you're going to piss off his pet giant who's just going to rage at you and probably pull all your arms off. Like, fuck. I would take out a bigger threat. It made me really sad, though, because I love 1-1. He was, like, one of my favorite parts about, the wildlings joining Jon and stuff, because I wanted to see what they can do. I think they did a disservice with him. I think they could have done way more with him. So I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity. And it was just really sad when he died. And then Jon, of course, just pissed off, fucking taking that shield and just stopping each shot. Which made me wonder why Ramsay didn't start shooting for his legs to slow his momentum down or something, but I guess he's just an idiot who thinks he's good at everything. And then watching him get his face beat in, was pretty good. Sick fuck was smiling the entire time though, so it was just like, damn, is he getting off on this? Because this is awkward. The very end with Sansa, talking to him and just pretty much going, you're gonna die, you know, and he's like, my hounds will never hurt me, and she goes, yeah, but you said it yourself, you starved them for 7 days, and then, feeding time, pretty much. My issue is, was he unconscious when they put him in there? Because that's the only way they'd probably be able to put him in there with the hounds, because the hounds are very, responsive to him. Also, the fact that you're telling me that the doors were open to all of the kennels, and the hounds had been starving for that long. You're telling me they didn't already start nibbling at him while he was sitting in there? Like, he's obviously been in there for a few hours or so. Although it was crazy, getting the dog, like, ripping off the dude's jaw and them all just starting to feed on him and stuff. That was cool, but a little bit lazy in the writing, because you kind of have to, overlook some basic reality things there. So, but overall, I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give it a minus. I love the fact that we got to delve deeper into those two things, and they didn't overstretch themselves as far as story went. Um, the CGI was fantastic. The fights was fantastic. Um, I can't wait to see what happens next. I want to see if Sansa steps up as the Stark child in rule, or if she lets Jon have any of that responsibility. I can't wait to see what happens next. I want Bran and Arya to get reunited already with the others, because it's time the Stark family, what's left of it, came together. Um, and I want an end to the Tower of Joy sequence. I want to know what happens, damn it. So that is my review for episode 9. If you enjoyed the review, please click that little red button down there that says subscribe. Like it if you like it. Don't if you don't. Tell me, who do you think is going to be riding the other two dragons? Who would you like to see? Um, Me personally, I hope the Green Dragon Rhaegal goes to Tyrion, and I hope that Viserion ends up being Jon's dragon, as unlikely as it seems at the moment. But I want to know who you want to see on those a dragon back. And also, did you guys like this episode? Tell me what you like the most. What was your favorite part? I respond to all comments that I see. And later, geeks.